celebrating the power of possibility. Pilot Flying J and Halloran Hilton Hill present Anything is Possible.
You're watching Anything is Possible. This is part 2 of my interview with Tabor Gable. Tabor, thank you for being with us. Mm-hmm. Was Juilliard hard?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Define hard.
Again, another test. The teachers were pretty relentless on, because you know, everybody goes in there thinking, okay, well, if I've made it, then I can just coast. But the teachers were not gonna allow that to happen. So even when you were in there and you thought you had some stuff, you thought you had some chops, thought you had something that you bring to the table, they were gonna pressure you. They're gonna be like, all right, well, this is what you don't know. I remember one of my lessons where my instructor brought in, it was like, he had me reading, I wanna say like tuba parts or trombone parts to this, it was like a score. Right. And, I thought I had, I could read, I felt good. And he was like, all right, now read this. And I'm sitting there struggling through that. And he's just like, just to show you that you never know it all. He's like, what if you want to write for an orchestra one day? What if you want to write for a larger ensemble one day? And then I'm just like, man, like, something else.
So what are you doing if you're in that environment and you've got your trick, you got your thing at the piano that you do?
Yeah.
It's gonna wow them every time.
Yeah.
What happens when your pixie dust gets rusty or your trick won't work? What was your go-to thing on the piano where, okay, I got him with this one?
Yeah.
Show me your I got him move.
Oh man, well, I can't, because the thing is I had to jump off that cliff of.
So you had to let that go.
Yeah, I had to let it go. I had to go for something, it's like you're just kind of like just grabbing for anything. And I had to let that go. And I said, okay, because I could see, they're not impressed me doing the thing that got me here. They're like, all right, what's next? Like, what else you got, So I had to, but it taught me a lot. Because now in a performance setting, I know what that feeling is. I know what that feeling is to go to the next thing where, all right, you're recycling, get out of that, next, Bring something, what else? Get inspired by something else,
What is your ultimate dream or aspiration? What do you want?
I would love to, I want to teach. I definitely want to teach. Yeah, and that's a new.
Wait a minute, what's that about?
That's a newfound, yeah. Well, as I said earlier, the Bronx school, the charter school that hired me, I'm just starting to see how beautiful teaching is. And I think one of the best ways to keep this music and good music alive is to share it to the younger audience. So even if they don't appreciate, even if they don't like the Herbie Hancock or the Miles Davis records that I do, I can just show them what those records have meant to me in my life and where it's gotten me. So maybe if they can't appreciate that source, maybe I can be the outsource that they can appreciate. So
you want to teach?
I do want to teach.
You didn't say, I want to be here or do.
Well, that's on the side. I definitely want to continue to produce great music, continue to travel as long as I can before I need to settle down, continue to put out multiple albums if I can, collaborate, but ultimately I think teaching will be the longevity of my music career, because when all that stuff fades, I can always rely on teaching.
Did you see the movie Soul?
Of course, yeah.
Tell me what you thought of the music Soul, and did you see any of your soul in Soul?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very, it was a beautiful outlook on the jazz community in New York. And to be honest, I thought it was just like a representation of what New York City's like. You literally are teaching during the day and then trying to get the gig at night. So it was a very accurate perception of that. And I liked, to me, I came away with, what is the word I'm looking for? Being present. That's what I came away with, because he was doing all these things. He had the teaching gig, he had the chops, he was about to get the gig, but then him not noticing where he was ended up in his downfall. He, fell into that manhole.
Right.
So you gotta be present. As much as it is to be excited about certain things, you have to be in the now too. You have to appreciate the moment as well. And that's what I think that his friend was trying to tell him, was like, I appreciate these things that you're missing, I appreciate the pizza. I appreciate walking in the city with all these people. You're missing that because you're too busy trying
to get to the next
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
All right, why don't we take a break? When we come back, I would like for us to, let's do the hits. Let's do a countdown.
Uh-oh.
Right? I would love to hear pieces of your 3 favorite hymns.
Okay.
And I would love to hear pieces of your 3 favorite jazz pieces.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
All right. You're watching Anything is Possible. More in a moment.
Possibility powered by Pilot Flying J, Covenant Health, Home Federal, and the Knoxville News Sentinel. Coming up.
O Lamb of God, I come. Daggum, that's another one of my dad's favorites, I'm telling you. Welcome back to Anything is Possible. So I threw you into a 2-parter. You got me with that I surrender all, but I was just like, Pops, why'd you show up here today? But I'm glad I got to see him and feel him and hear him. All right, so hymns. We both love hymns.
Yes.
We love, I love the melodic structure of hymns. But music is energy more than anything else. That's what it's not. Sound is nothing but energy. So let's play snatches or pieces of your top 3 hymns. Coming in at number 3 is?
I'll say this More About Jesus.
Let's do it. All right, number 3. Dadgummit. Checking in at number 2.
Let's see. That's another one of my dad's favorites. I'm telling you, Dad, what are you doing in here today? All right, checking in at number 1. Probably the good old.
A little bit more. This is a little bit more of that one. That is so nice. All right, now to your top 3 jazz pieces.
Okay.
And it can include one of yours.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll put yours at number 1.
Sure, okay.
Checking in at number 3.
I'd say it's a long form, but I'll play a little bit of it. Not too much, but it's Dolphin Dance, Herbie Hancock.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is that chord right there? What is it?
That's a C minor major 7. I added the flat 5. Yeah, C minor major.
My producer, Chris Marion, will appreciate that. Checking in at number 2.
Okay.
Or it could be one of yours as number 2 and number 1.
Right. The one I'm really proud of from my record that I would love for it to be a jazz standard one day is this song called Pride, because it tells a story almost a la Donald Fagen, as we were talking about earlier. And it's kind of from an alter ego perspective. I'm kind of telling a story about myself, but not really, and it's more just kind of relating generally. So, but the only thing is it has lyrics, and I don't know if I'm prepared to sing it right now.
Well, let's see what happens. This is number 2 and number 1.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tabor and his alter ego, Saber.
Oh, man. Well, I'll do my best. Please forgive my singing, Howard.
I love it. Give me some of the DNA of that piece.
So as we spoke earlier, that's the song where that fanfare came that, for the beauty of the earth. I was just kind of like messing around with that phrasing of those words, the syllables of those words. And that's kind of where that fanfare came from. And I did that in 2 songs. I had a fanfare. There's another one I did, Unspoken Realities. And that fanfare kind of comes back a lot.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Let's take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about what life has taught you thus far and what you've learned about possibility. You're watching Anything is Possible. I'm Halloran Hilton Hill. This is Tabor Gable. More in a moment. This is Anything is Possible, part 2 of my interview with Tabor Gable. Man, you blew me away when you said, I want to teach. I think that's powerful to continue the legacy, so I wish you well as you do that. Let's talk about the future. Let's talk about what you've learned, though, about life thus far. It's interesting to me that a young man would choose jazz. I've noticed what, Robert Glasper and all of his contemporaries are doing. They're bending it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a fusion of jazz and hip hop and pop and all that kind of stuff. And so there's a youth movement going on, definitely in jazz. Why have you chosen your particular path, and are you part of that youth movement as well?
I'd like to think so. I mean, those guys they have a larger platform than I, but of course they're 6, 7, 8 records in. This is my first. I guess what I'm trying to convey in my music is after studying jazz from literally its birth to now, I kind of really related to musicians who almost just use jazz as an information platform, just something that they gather information to inform what they enjoyed. So I'm really attracted to people like David Foster, Jay Graydon.
Yeah.
Those types of people, you know, the kind
I
of the
know
way
where you got the Jay Graydon from.
the West Coast.
Me and your dad used to binge on all that Jay Graydon produced stuff from Donald Fagen to Al Jarreau, George Benson, all of those records, all up in there. So that's amazing. Why do you track toward them?
I don't know. I'm still kind of trying to figure that out. But I just like the use of information. I feel like sometimes we get too caught up in wanting to sound old, like from the musical perspective, the musical standpoint. And I think that there's so much music, like singable melodies. I think as musicians, especially as improvisers, we lose that because we want to play all these notes. You know, you listen to like all the trumpet players and it's good, but I think now in today's society, the ear loses its comfort there. So my goal is to try and just play melodies that will stand the test of time. Something that you can sing to, whether the music's there blasting in your car, or whether you listen, even if it's not there, you can just be like, oh yeah, you know, I like that song, I like that ditty.
Right.
You know, so.
It's interesting that you would say that. I know there's a certain part of the growth of an artist or a musician where they want to certify their accomplishment. They want to show you that they know. Then you get to this point where you just want to leverage what you know to serve. And there's a switch that happens along the way, and I see you making that switch. Like what you played today, I could feel that in there. Like the music, like you said, is at the service of something larger.
Of course.
What have you learned about life thus far? What are the rules of possibility? What are the rules that govern you? If you're giving advice to somebody watching as a young man, I can learn a lot from you as well. What have you learned?
Honestly, I've learned the most away from the piano and on tour. Just being in different places, not being able to speak the language, not knowing the food, not knowing what to get, seeing different people, getting lost. I actually got lost one night in Paris, was out all night trying to find my hotel. But I'll tell you, I've never felt so found while being lost. I've never felt so like, well, you know, because then it's not about the music anymore. It's not about, you know, your status in the general, you know, public. It's, you know, where's my hotel? So just like, I think those things are beautiful. And honestly, the parts I cherish the most are just being like going out on the town with the musicians. Like during the day, I think the last most memorable tour was when we were in Mexico and we bought fresh coconut water. Like they sliced the coconut and the water was in there. And I just felt so alive. I felt like, wow, this is what it is to be like in the earth, you know, like with people, you know, with different people. Right. Taught myself a bit of Spanish. I won't say I'm completely fluent, but I was in Spain for 2 weeks by myself. I got around. I was in Mexico. I stayed after the tour for a week, got around. I actually came back, did a tour with my friend Jonathan, got us cabs, got us all this other stuff. So I've just been learning, just trying to absorb what it is to be a human, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
I think what I hear you saying is, we're back to soul, be present, be where you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And be okay with where you are.
Yeah.
And make the most of what you are. And those are possibilities in and of themselves.
Absolutely.
Like the title of our show is Anything is Possible. But if you're always either lost in the past or rushing to the future, you miss the possibility of this moment, right?
Absolutely.
I'll give you an example. The example would be this show. I did not plan for it to go this way, but I was available for it, right? As were you. And I think we were able to enjoy something really beautiful and powerful.
Absolutely.
Right? So continue to be present and have about 7 kids and and love life.
Yeah.
Where can people consume more of you? Where can we find your music? Where can we find your performances? Where can we take your lessons?
Yeah. So I'm on all the social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, and yeah, just direct message me. I don't believe any of them are private, so you can just hit me up and then I'll comment. I also do radio show here in town, so you can find me I guess, playing all types of jazz.
When and where is your show?
It's WUOT 91.9 FM, Thursday nights at 6:30 to 8. And it's called Improvisations. And thankful to the WUOT community for accepting me this past year, which was another opportunity that I got that I took right after I left the Domino's thing. And that's, helping me get back on my feet as well. So very
Have you
thankful.
written a song entitled Domino?
No, but come on, Hal.
you see the wheels turning, right?
Yeah.
Also, just in case Domino's Pizza is watching this,
yes,
he is available for endorsement.
That's
we
right.
can sign the endorsement deal right now. Tabor Gable, thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
I want you to know how much I love and appreciate you, and I'm proud of you.
I love you too, Hal. Thank you.
We'll see you next time on Anything is Possible.